Good morning. In today's headlines, police have identified the body of kindergarten teacher and heiress Eliza Fletcher, who was abducted last week.
A brutal heat wave continues to pummel California, bringing record high temperatures and pushing its power grid to the brink. Electronic cigarette maker Juul will pay nearly $440 million to settle an investigation into its vaping products. The company is blamed for sparking a national surge in teen vaping. Good morning. Welcome to NTD. I'm Kevin Hogan.
Good morning. I'm Evelyn Lee. Good to have you with us. Wednesday today, September 7th. And first, heartbreaking updates from an abduction case from last week. Forensic investigators have now identified the body of kindergarten teacher and heiress Eliza Fletcher, who was also a mother of two. She was abducted while jogging near the University of Memphis campus last week. Authorities shared new information concerning Fletcher's tragic death at a press conference yesterday. Police found the remains of a body behind a duplex apartment on Monday evening. Investigators identified the body as Eliza Fletcher the following morning. Officers spotted tall grass near the abandoned residence where she was found. They also observed vehicle tracks near the house, and one officer smelled decay. They also found a garbage bag with purple running shorts near a house where police say suspect Cleotha Abston was with his brother. The shorts were similar to what Eliza Fletcher was last seen wearing the day she was abducted. Cleotha Abston has been charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and other offenses.
Cleotha Abston has been charged by NTD homicide investigators with the following state charges: first-degree murder and perpetration of kidnapping, especially aggravated kidnapping, and tampering with evidence.
With respect to the family, both law enforcement and our office was in contact with the family throughout this long weekend. They have been fully cooperative throughout that entire process, and in contrast to whatever baseless speculation you might have seen, we have no reason to think this was anything other than an isolated attack by a stranger.
The family of Eliza Fletcher said she was very enthusiastic about running.
She once even qualified for the Boston Marathon.
And she was an heiress of the hardware distribution company Orgill, valued in the billions.
Her late grandfather, Joseph Orgill III, was the company president from 1940 to 1980. And in other news, a punishing heat wave continues to bake California, bringing record high temperatures and threatening blackouts. NTD's Daniel Moynihan has more.
California is facing its highest chance of blackouts this year as a brutal heat wave continues to hammer the state with triple-digit temperatures. State energy officials said the electrical load Tuesday afternoon could top 51,000 megawatts. That would be the highest demand the state has ever seen. The California Independent System operators warned people to be ready for potential rotating power outages. California state capital Sacramento tied a record Tuesday with its 41st day of temperatures reaching at least 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It also reached a record high of 116 degrees yesterday. That shattered the old record of 114 degrees set in 1925. As if all that weren't enough, the danger of wildfires was extreme as scorching heat and low humidity turned brush into tinder. Meanwhile, authorities issued a flex alert for the 7th straight day. Flex alerts ask citizens to refrain from using large electric appliances and charging electric vehicles. They also request cooperation with other power-saving measures. Governor Gavin Newsom had this to say.
Californians, you've stepped up to help in a big way to keep the lights on so far, but we're heading to the worst part of this heat wave, and the risk for outages is real and it's immediate. These triple-digit temperatures throughout much of our state are leading, not surprisingly, to record demand on the energy grid.
Newsom also advises everyone to do their part to help and to step up for just a few more days. Daniel Moynihan, NTD News.
Leonard Glenn Francis, known as Fat Leonard, has disappeared. He's the defense contractor who bilked the Navy out of more than $35 million. He pleaded guilty in 2015 to bribing dozens of top-ranking Navy officers with booze, sex, lavish parties, and other gifts. U-Haul trucks were seen at the home of the Malaysian defense contractor before he snipped off his ankle monitor and disappeared. He was under house arrest. Nearly a dozen U.S. law enforcement agencies were searching for Francis on Tuesday, but officials acknowledged he may already be in Mexico and possibly on his way back to Asia. A U.S. district judge originally feared Francis might run off when she turned down a request from his lawyer. The request was to allow him to be under house arrest without round-the-clock security guards watching him. It was unclear if round-the-clock security guards were still in place. The case delved into details about service members cheating on their wives and seeking prostitutes.
Moving on to some other news, multiple wildfires were seen burning across Idaho on Tuesday. Footage released by local authorities shows massive clouds of smoke. Ross Fork Fire was burning in Sawtooth National Forest. According to local media, it has grown to affect over 20,000 acres. Reports indicated that the fires were being fanned by hot, dry winds. Around 175 firefighters had been deployed to contain the fires, and around 200 people were told to evacuate the area.
Electronic cigarette maker Juul will pay nearly $440 million to settle a multi-state investigation into its vaping products. The company has long been blamed for sparking a national surge in teen vaping.
Juul can no longer fund education programs in schools. Okay, Juul cannot depict persons in any marketing under the age of 35. They can't use cartoons like Joe Camel. No paid product placement in movies or television shows. No sale of brand name merchandise. No sale of flavors not approved by the FDA. No more misrepresentations about nicotine quantity. 27% of high school students in Connecticut reported using vape. 27%, more than a quarter of kids my kids' age, and their children, let's be clear, 13 to 17, they're still kids.
Connecticut announced the deal on Tuesday on behalf of 33 states plus Puerto Rico. For about 2 years, attorneys general have been probing into Juul's early promotions and claims about the safety and benefits of its device as a smoking alternative. The company still faces separate lawsuits from other states and individuals. Additionally, federal health regulators are trying to ban the company's products. Juul has not admitted wrongdoing and calls the settlement, quote, a significant part of our ongoing commitment to resolve issues from the past. The company says marketing restrictions were consistent with its practices since it undertook a company-wide reset in 2019.
And how does the job market look in the U.S. at the moment? According to the Labor Department, employers added slightly less jobs in August than expected, and amid the soaring inflation, wages rose around 5% compared to a year ago. At the same time, unemployment rate climbed higher as well to almost 4%. But apparently, that's no reason for worry. I spoke to an expert to find out more. Joining me to discuss the job report is Paul McDonald. He is a Senior Executive Director for Global Talent Solutions at the consulting firm Robert Half. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
Well, first of all, I want to address the increased unemployment rate from the report because many people are still kind of holding their breaths about the recession. Should we be worried?
Well, we saw 3.7% unemployment be announced on Friday. We saw that the economy added 315,000 jobs. We saw that the unemployment rate for college-degreed workers went down to 1.9%. So all in all, I would say that with the added jobs that we saw in the JOLTS report earlier in the month, we saw 11.2 million jobs available. And the quits rate, people are still leaving their jobs. They're still confident that they can find a new job. So I would say it's very hopeful for the, yes, unemployment rate went up 0.2%, but still it's historically low.
And I mean, if there are, let's say there are layoffs going on in a firm for an employee, do you have any advice, any way to try and minimize the risk of being laid off?
Yes, there's some very good strategies that you can go through as an employee, as a job seeker. Focus on upskilling yourself or what is currently in demand, and do you match in demand? If you find that there's a gap between the in-demand skill sets and what you have, upskill yourself, either online, take a night course, there's tutorials quite a bit. Many times within your employer, there's tutorials and online courses available. Secondly, make sure your network is strong. You never know. If you are caught with an opportunity where you are laid off or you are finding yourself unemployed, then make sure that you have a strong network. With most of the economy open now, networking opportunities are available both in person and online. So those are two good strategies to make sure, and obviously update your resume.
Very interesting points. And just before we go, one quick change of perspectives, because small businesses have been especially struggling. Is this report good news to them?
Well, I think what all businesses, including small business, have to look at is retention. So you have a lot of opportunities still. The JOLTS report shows that people are leaving jobs freely still. That hasn't changed. So therefore, focus on retention. Do you have competitive salary? Do you have an online or a spot bonus policy? Do you have a strong recognition program? Do you offer upskilling opportunities in order to retain the workers that are really hard to find today in some professions?
Thank you so much, Paul McDonald with Robert Half. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And just ahead, Russia could be buying millions of artillery rounds and rockets from North Korea. The White House says it's a sign of desperation on President Putin's side.
Freedom is not free, and neither is the truth. In order to bring you the facts, our reporters are out there on the front lines getting the true story. Some of them served 10 years of prison in China. We've been censored on social media. Our Hong Kong printing offices were set on fire, and we've been repeatedly attacked by the Chinese Communist Party. But no matter what, we believe that you deserve the truth, and so we'll continue to bring the truth to light. Head on over to getepic.com and try honest journalism that is based in truth and tradition. We'd love to have you on board.
The 2022 NTD 8th International Chinese Vocal Competition will be held from September 29th to October 2nd at the Merkin Hall of Kaufman Music Center in New York City. The competition is honored to have specially invited vocalists with the world-renowned Shen Yun Performing Arts to serve on its panel of judges. The gold award is $10,000. For more information, please visit vocal.ntdtv.com.
Welcome back. The White House says Russia may be in the process of purchasing millions of rounds of rockets and artillery shells from North Korea for its ongoing fight against Ukraine.
We have indications that they're in the process of purchasing these, what could be, as I said in my first answer, the scale of millions of rounds here, but no indications that that purchase has been complete, and certainly no indications that material, that those weapons are being used inside Ukraine.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says the planned purchase shows that Russian President Vladimir Putin is becoming desperate. The Biden administration said last week that Russia has faced technical problems with Iranian-made drones acquired from Tehran in August for use in its war with Ukraine. Russia picked up Mohajer 6 and Shahid series unmanned aerial vehicles over several days last month. The Biden administration says is likely a part of a Russian plan to acquire hundreds of Ukrainian UAVs for use in Ukraine.
And looking to some COVID news, the U.S. is rolling out new COVID-19 booster shots that target the most common Omicron strain. The move comes just days after the FDA authorized the updated shot. The preclinical data for the shots are based on just mice, not humans. Authorities say waiting for human trial data would have made the updated boosters outdated. The new boosters are combination shots. They aim to increase cross-protection against multiple variants. The recipe contains half of what's used in the original vaccine and half meant to target the newest Omicron versions, BA4 and BA5. The variants are considered the most contagious so far. Health officials say COVID boosters are likely to become, annual starting this fall. But they say that could change if a new variant causes a major surge, and that some people at higher risk might need more than one shot a year. They're suggesting people get their annual flu shot and COVID shot at the same time. And a new study by Go Banking Rates listed the 10 most unaffordable cities in the nation. Nearly all of them happen to be in California and apparently have a cost of living of a six-figure salary. Here's a look.
California leads the nation in many ways, including housing costs. Go Banking Rates put together a study of the 10 most unaffordable cities in America, and results found that 9 of them are in California. In the average American city, the cost of living is nearly $5,100 per month, or about $61,000 annually. But at the top of the list with the highest cost of living are California's Cupertino and Newport Beach, the only 2 cities with a cost of living of over $200,000 per year. Go Banking Rates looked at the average rental data for one-bedroom rent in 2022 from Apartment List, cost of living data from Sperling's Best, and expenditure data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Only cities with a livability score of 65 or higher were included. Rent for a one-bedroom space in 2022 for the top expensive cities are at minimum nearly $2,500 to $3,000 per month. Marina del Rey yields the highest at a whopping $4,500 per month. The only non-California city on the list happens to be Hoboken, located in New Jersey. The East Coast city doesn't have the highest cost of living at $107,000 per year, but it ranked the highest for livability from the list.
And coming up along a highway road in the woods of Northern California, the smell of fresh apples and joyful chattering fills the air. We have the story of a decades-old family business after the break.
Communism is evil. Oh, come on. Listen, if you're as tired of the censorship as I am, I've actually got good news for you. Check out epictv.com. It's a brand new censorship-free video platform where you can find not only my show, but other deep documentaries, great programs, and honest movies that bring you the news without all the spin and the fake narratives. So, I'll see you there.
I love you!
Welcome back. In the woods of Northern California is an outdoor cider bar run by a family for over 140 years. NTD's Aline Ang has more about the apples from some family members who run the apple farm.
Along a highway road cradled between fruit orchards and vineyards stands a cider tasting bar. The smell of fresh apples and joyful chattering fills the air. Gowan's Heirloom Cider, a family-run business about an hour south of Fort Bragg, has been flourishing since 1876. Fifth-generation farmer and cider maker Sharon Gowan says they recently opened up the outdoor cider bar during the pandemic.
We started making hard cider about 10 years ago. Some of our hard ciders won best in the world's largest cider competitions. And we were super excited. We got to open up an outdoor tasting room 2 years ago during the pandemic. So people can come and try our cider from our taps and our bar and sit amidst these historic trees. And it's lots of fun.
They're not very soft. They're pretty hard, but they're sweet and they're tart.
Sharon married into the family 30 years ago and has 2 sons, who are the current 6th generation. The 200-acre apple farm has over 100 different varieties and about 11,000 trees. The family continues to harvest apples from some of the exact same trees as their ancestors, some being 150 years old.
In the 1990s, we had some researchers that came by, and they were shocked to find out that we had this apple. It's called a Sierra Beauty apple, and they thought it was extinct. They'd been searching for it for decades.
Native to California, the Sierra Beauty has good acidity, natural baking spices, and is sweet, making it a desirable apple for pastry chefs.
The fun thing is that we've been able to bring in so many different kinds of apples from all around the world. And if apples are happy in one kind of climate, they're often happy in another.
They also have Macintosh from Canada, Granny Smith from New Zealand, and Astrakhan from Russia. The farm also grows pears and figs. Their fruits are grown organically. Sharon explains how everything stays on the farm, from growing to packaging.
We harvest the apples, we press them into juice, we ferment them and bottle them right here on the same property so nothing leaves. And then any waste, like the pulp after the pressing, we spread that around on the farm so that our native wild bees can also have some of that, and that helps them in the fall to grow. So we hope to not have to bring in honeybees because we've been supporting the wild bee population.
And they're so pretty when you get them all shined up, right?
After picking, the apples go through a machine for washing before it's pressed into large fermentation tanks. They also bottle the cider on site once every few months.
And that's why it's so bubbly.
The current matriarch of the farm is 97-year-old Josephine Gowan. She took some time to share fond memories of her apple picking days.
I had a women's crew of about 16 women, and the men worked in the meals in the forest, and we picked the apples. The women and I picked the apples, and I was a pretty good apple picker.
Now she walks about an hour around the orchard every day.
It's very ripe and it's in season.
The orchard gets lots of help from the young too. Shalisha welcomes guests at the fruit stand. She cuts apple and pear samples for visitors.
And make sure that the apples are fresh and looking good for the people that come to our tasting rooms. And I also do apple tastings and pear tastings so that people know what they're buying before they actually pay for it.
The farm is open year-round. Besides selling apples, cider, and slushies on the property, they also ship the fruits to select markets and schools. Every year, they sell about 10,000 cases of cider. Eileen Ang, NTD News, Philo, California.
Giant space tarantula. These words would most likely cause some concern to most, but NASA is wowing astronomers with this new photo of one. The space agency's James Webb Space Telescope captured the image of a large Magellanic Cloud galaxy nicknamed the Tarantula Nebula. Scientists gave it the nickname because it resembles a burrowing tarantula's home, which is lined with silk. The nebula sits around 160,000 light-years away from Earth. It is the largest and brightest star-forming region in the galaxies closest to the Milky Way. That is pretty cool. It's like nature's art with all the colors and everything. So what's up next, Evelyn?
Right, we're going to end the program with a cute reunion of a sea lion family at a Chicago aquarium. Chicago's Shed Aquarium is now the home to 3 generations of sea lions. It welcomes 3-year-old Charger and his 3-month-old pup, the youngest sea lion to ever live at the aquarium. The pup will be slowly introduced to other sea lions, learn to socialize with his caretakers, and participate in training and enrichment sessions.
That is adorable. Okay, so I have a joke for our science enthusiasts out there. What's the difference between a seal and a sea lion?
I don't know, what?
Ion. You know, I-O-N, the last 3 letters.
Thanks for spelling that one out for me.
Well, okay, but no, for real, the real difference is that sea lions are much larger. They have outer ear flaps, and true seals don't have those.
True seals, good. They can always catch an imposter. On that note, that's all for today's program. Before you go, though, we'd like to hear from you. You can share your thoughts and your story at goodmorning@ntd.com, so shoot us an email if you'd like. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. I'm Evelyn Lee.
And I'm Kevin Hogan.